And welcome to another Afternoon Idle. My name is Andrew. I am a certified mindfulness meditation coach in the Unified Mindfulness System. You can find out more about at unifiedmindfulness.com. I am many things, but I am not a licensed medical professional, mental health professional, social worker, therapist, etc. What I am is a computer programmer who learned to meditate, almost 11 years ago now, as a way to, on one hand, sort of sharpen my mental skills, and on the other, deal with the various stresses around building software and managing competing interests, and handling all of the people stuff that seemingly is going on in the construction of software. So I found meditation to be remarkably helpful, which is why I started doing meditation coaching. So today it's going to be a little bit of meditation Mad Libs, if I can use that without drawing on some sort of trademark or whatever. But what we'll look at is sort of choose your own do something sit. I'll have some suggestions, but choose your own do something sit, and then we'll finish up our sit with doing nothing, or choiceless awareness, or shikantaza, or any of a number of things. Effortless emerging awareness. All of those fun things that can happen when we just sort of let go and let whatever happens happen. So the mindfulness meditation system that I'm trained in has ways of categorizing our sensory experience. So that helps us to note, to sort of sort and note those, and then optionally apply labels. So our three categories are see, hear, feel, and there's an inner and outer dimension to each of them. And for today, any of those is totally fine. We do contrast sits for about 15 minutes, so you'll have about 6-ish minutes or so to practice any of those techniques that you would like. I'll just offer guidance around focus out, which would be sight, so see out, hear out, feel out, so the physical body, just as a way of considering kind of what resonates for you, so an anchoring kind of piece. So you could do focus out, which would be all three of those, or you could choose just feel out, which I often really is kind of where I lean towards. I notice that when I'm guiding for this live stream that I tend to stick in feel and hear. So see out, if you want to do that, totally an option as well. I think see out is actually an interesting thing to experiment with. So we may look at that maybe Friday or next week. But just in essence, offering you to be able a chance. So I'll give guidance basically around sort of focus out, but allowing you to decide what your focus range is. So, so hello, Brooke. I'm glad you're enjoying that. I'm still getting used to chat. I'm happy that it is mercifully sparse in comparison to the Do Nothing Project. And a plug, if you haven't seen this yet, I'm going to be guest hosting this Sunday for the Do Nothing Project. I'm working on my topic is right laziness. So that is what we'll be doing. Our just a little more than nothing sit around on Sunday. That's at, I always think of it in my time zone, but I think that's 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, so 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, and maybe 4 Alaska, maybe. All right. So, and I'm offering sort of some suggestions around the something part of the sit. It's wide open. You could do any practice if you have go-to practice. So, but just offering that, and so we'll do a 15-minute sit. Again, just sort of our standard sort of pre-sit checklist of going through and kind of settling in, doing something for about 6 minutes, and then doing nothing for about 6 minutes. Tomorrow we're going to switch it up and we'll do it different. But today we're going to do something at the beginning. So I'll invite the bell. So I want to take a posture that helps us to be both relaxed and alert. Ideally sit in a way where the spine is long, upright, dignified. Arranging the feet and such in a way that helps us to be still for 15 minutes or so. And checking in to see if we are holding any tension. And that will vary from person to person. As you sit more frequently, you may notice where you hold tension. And something that you can even do in sort of short practices throughout the day is just checking in to see where the tension is and inviting it to relax. I do a progressive check where I check forehead, eyes, jaw, neck, and the shoulders. And a little bit of shoulder shrug. And then if possible, if your nose is not stuffed or you don't have anything preventing breathing in through the nose, ideally we want to breathe slow, and that will allow us to breathe low into the lungs. So slow and low is the tempo. If your nose is blocked, you can breathe, kind of breathe through pursed lips as a way to breathe a little more slowly and exhale a little more slowly. It's sometimes called straw breathing, as if you were breathing through a straw. And our focus range is your choice. And the rhythm is that we allow our attention to be within the range that you've chosen. Be it see out, hear out, feel out. Notice where your attention is. Soak the awareness into that. And then optionally use a label. So for me, with my eyes open, my attention is drawn to see. I notice where my attention is. I drop my gaze a bit to avoid the video live stream. And the label is really just a bit of skillful thinking to help us remain in contact a little longer. Allowing the attention to move within whatever our focus range is. Again, your choice. So explore your sensory experience in whatever way you've chosen. So, regardless of whatever you've chosen to focus on, you're going to find that your attention has wandered away, or you notice paying attention to something that's outside of what you've decided on. So, this is an opportunity for us to bring our attention back and do so in a kind way. But if we notice that we're frustrated or we're scolding ourselves, just noticing that is a good first step. No need to scold ourselves for scolding ourselves for scolding ourselves. So, in the beginning, just being neutral is a good place to start. So, when I notice my attention is gone, sometimes I'll sort of instinctually say to myself, huh, or interesting, and then bring my attention back. Good. So now let's let go of or put down that technique. And in putting that down, there may be a little bit of relief. Moving into this open, sort of free range stance can allow our attention to flow and move as it chooses, letting whatever happens happen, letting go of any need to control or direct the attention. Just being. In letting whatever happens happen, your attention may have ended up on something that is a bit repetitive or maybe a little agitating. So you can always sort of resettle into the posture, and check the posture, and just see if you're leaning too far back, or maybe can shift a bit. And then always can go back through that beginning sequence, doing a bit of breathing, settling back in, and then letting go. So it's always an option available to you. invite you to open your eyes if they've been closed and begin reconnecting to your surroundings. Thank you again for your practice. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you to those that are watching afterwards. We're getting a few viewers after the fact, so thank you for that. We'll continue to be at the 1 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that's 11 my time, 11 a.m., and then 10 a.m. Pacific. If you have questions or reports, feel free to share them in chat. If you don't, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me practicing in your day. Awesome, Brooke. That's great to hear. Yeah, I think my internet is a little off on days as well. So I've had a few folks mention that sometimes I get a little choppy and jump around a bit. So yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so see hear feel is definitely like the sort of the sort of technique of unified mindfulness. It's the sort of flagship technique, or the signature technique, I think, is how Juliana Ray mentions it, and it has an immense amount of utility. And that said, I like to play with parts of it to see what resonates for individuals. So for some people, the doing aspect of being able to note all of sensory experience, which is what see, hear, feel, both inner and outer, focus in and focus out, gives you, is really quite helpful. So let's see. So the question is, would jumping around see, hear, feel at the beginning be like open awareness? So it depends on how you're doing it. The open awareness is, so if you're allowing your attention to sort of float within all those possible choices and then noting it as you're going, the difference would be that usually in an open awareness practice, so it's where the attention is, and that I believe there would be that in using the noting practice, noting is what would make it a technique, more of a mindfulness concentration technique over an open awareness stance. But it's a good question. I'm not totally sure. So usually in an open awareness, we're in that same stance where we're letting it come in and come to us. But usually we're not using a noting practice. So that's a good question. So I think it's equivalent, maybe, or mathematically speaking, we might be able to say it's congruent, but not sure about saying that they're 100% equal. So yeah, so the and that's what I'm pointing towards. The noting, the technique aspect of noting, I think, is what would make it slightly different than a sort of standard open awareness practice. And that's because I think it makes it more monitoring. You're more tracking, but it's actually, so in the end, it may be splitting hairs. I would say so in UM, we have a skills-based approach of thinking of the techniques, and that the techniques are always training the three skills of concentration, clarity, and equanimity. And I would say that using the see, hear, feel and allowing yourself to jump around, that's an element of that technique, allowing you to do that. You in essence can note everything. That is giving you a bit of an increased opportunity in your sensory clarity. And the idea of sensory clarity is being able to track what's happening in your sensory experience real time with high fidelity. So you're able to know that that's mental talk, or that's mental image, or that's emotional body sensation, or that I'm tracking external sight, and that leads to, or in sort of a subsequent where the attention is jumping to. So, but it is important. Your point is very important. You're sort of letting it come to you. You're not going to it. So and that shift in the stance makes it seem very close to open awareness. So it's a really good question, and that's not a full answer, but I'll say that at least qualifies as a response. So awesome. Well, I will let everyone get back to their day. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I will see folks tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna switch it up. It'll be like the Sadie Hawkins of contrast sits, where we'll start with doing nothing and then we'll shift to doing something. So we'll flip things around. Have a good one.